Welcome on back, everybody, to another episode of Listening to the Voices in Our Heads. My name is Jenna O'Malley. I am your soul writer, author of sci-fi fantasy with dashes of romance and nerdy references. And guess what? Again, we're talking about the things that really creative minds and their creative processes probably do and don't think about, but this world doesn't always necessarily make it comfortable for us. And today, we're hanging out with someone who I consider to be an amazing inspiration, definitely someone who's super supportive of everyone here in the community, and she totally rocks out. She's a songstress, she's an actress. In fact, I call her AuthorTube's favorite actress. Let's hang out with Rita. Welcome, everybody. Hello, Rita. How's it, honey?
Hey, Jenna. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. Go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit to us and let us know all about who you are, what you do, where we can find you.
Okay, I'm Rita Slanina. I'm an actress and author, and I post lifestyle content on YouTube. I love authortube. My gosh, you can find me there at youtube.com/Rita Slanina or my website, ritaslanina.com.
Yeah, check the description box below for this one, my friends, for sure. Are you still taking friendos to come visit on your armchair chats?
So we are having the season finale this Sunday, and then I do plan to pick it up for another season next September. So
for those who have inquiring minds, because I've already had people asked if I was interviewing you and if you had openings, and I'm like, let's get that out of the way and sneak that in there as part of the intro.
oh, that's a great Yeah, I wanted to keep going, but I got kind of in a play.
This is true. She definitely has a life outside of AuthorTube for sure. So what inspires you to write songs the most, though, and pivot a little bit here, because you're a songwriter as well, right?
Yes. So I started writing poetry and short stories when I was younger. My dad played music. He was in a high school band, not like the high school band, like the marching band, but like a
Like a gig band.
a gig band. Yeah, I don't know what it was called. And he sort of was probably instrumental in that because he would have me make up songs. I mean, you could be driving down the road, there's a cow on a hill, let's make a song.
Oh, wow. So he was kind of playing like word games and stuff with you in the car instead of like, find something yellow kind of games.
Yeah, and
Oh, wow.
we would listen to the radio, and he is pretty pretty good about always changing the words anyway, which is became my obsession over lyrics in every song I hear, and I'll go, "Well, that's not the right lyrics." But alternatively, he would go, "That's okay though. Let's make our own lyrics to this song." And so off the cuff, we would do this in the car when we were driving places.
That is so cool. So he's been cultivating your inner musician for ages, then it sounds like. And this kind of sets us right up for the next question. Does meter and beat matter so much in the drafting stages? Like in poetry, especially like Shakespeare and whatnot, we talk about, it's got to have 10 beats. Does that really matter to you, or do you more free write?
So this is sort of a two-part question. So, or an answer rather. Meter and beat won't necessarily matter when you're writing the lyrics. However, because you can always add that in after, because in music, the meter if for those of you who don't know, is more like the arrangement of the pre-existing music or music you create. So if you're doing lyrics first and you haven't gotten to the music part, I would say no. Alternatively, if you're working off lyrics, like you're creating them off of pre-existing music, then it would kind of matter because you want to line up your prose with the timing and the beat. And I mean, I'd take it a step further with some song structure as well.
And just curious, which do you prefer to write in personally?
I have no preference. I like both ways. So, I mean, if something pops in my head, I'll just feverishly write it and then see if it'll work with something, or maybe there's a melody in my head at the time, which in that case, I would have to pull out my voice recorder and just kind of hum it along so I don't forget it, because I will forget it. I will forget it. But my last album was from pre-existing music first and writing later. So
if you haven't heard her music, I have. I've been nosy. I've been listening to what you have up, honey. I gotta admit. Well, what started it was I got suggested one of your videos after doing one of your live streams and the little blocks of videos. I'm like, oh, that's right. She does the singing thing. Click. Now I'm curious. If you haven't listened to her music, y'all, you need to, because she's good. She's really good.
I would say start with the Christmas one, because that one's like probably my most fun, light, upbeat one, and it still performs really well every year. And then like my other stuff, I feel like is usually really moody, because I tend to write best when I'm sad.
Oh, honey.
That's my own opinion. I could be wrong, but I just kind of go, I'm sad. I need to write this out, which is really cathartic, and it's very, very adjacent to writing books and poetry, because you're getting out whatever emotional and working it out. So
as far as like you are what you eat, your music is what you consume, sometimes you would say?
Sometimes, yes, because I'm very, I grew up like in the 2000s, right? So you got the hip hop and the hip hop cross mixes, even with some of the rock cross mixes with hip hop, but mostly R&B. And yeah, mostly R&B and like gospel stuff is what I like. And yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I guess so.
So then by that notion, kind of combining a couple of the questions we've asked so far, can any poem become a song or vice versa, do you think?
Yes, I think so. And reason being is because even though the structures may vary, as far as when you're writing poetry, there's certain line formations that make each one work for each other. Like, just like the Shakespearean stuff is its own thing, right? Sonnets, and it's all got its own little thing. Music does too, but there's variations of it. So you could write a poem and turn that into that by just slightly altering the structure or the layout, like a verse, a hook, or a chorus, whatever you want to call it. You could throw in a bridge there, one more chorus, and then fade out with a verse if you like, or even another chorus. So it just depends, and you can just work that in.
Love it. So have you used poetry, like reworked a poem into a song before, or used it as inspiration then?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say I've done a little of both. I did do a poetry book. It was like one of my first things I published. So it's not like the best version of anything, but it was so serious, always so serious. I did not move any of those into music, but I notice when I am writing lyrics first, I'm working poetry in my head.
Oh, that's a good point. That's like how some rappers say I'm always using figurative language type techniques. You probably
Yes.
use a lot of those too.
Oh, yes, because you just, how can I say the dog walks across the street, but make it sound, one, more interesting, and two, fun to listen to. And if someone's going to hear that lyric now, they're going to enjoy it saying this. Like,
That is why the 80s and 90s are known for their jingles and commercials, I think, because jingle writers must have made so much money if they were good at it back in the day, for
high
sure.
point for that medium. 100% agree.
Definitely. So, do you think that more people need to include poems and songs in their novels and so on? I'm kind of thinking Lords of the Ringsy and how they would stick them in if they were appropriate. Do you think that more people should go back to doing that? Why or why not?
Yes, I do think people should do that, because it won't only create a little more depth to maybe whatever said character that's writing this or feeling this or hearing this or whatever the case may be. But it would also be an intricate way of creating your world to expand a little bit bigger. So you might hear this song. I don't know if you use these, but some writers will use playlists to listen to while they're writing. So, oh gosh, that song, it's a playlist. It's from a real book. Oh my gosh. So you would sit there and go, oh, now that makes sense. While, like in my novella, Harbor Excursions, book 1, oh, Josie's walking through the square and you're just sitting here going, she's just in awe about what's happening at this coffee shop. And then there's a song about it because there's a song playing in the coffee shop.
That makes so much sense. Love it. See that actress side of her coming in, setting the stage for you, literally. I didn't ask, what play are we in even this time of year?
Oh, okay. So I picked up a part in the play Don't Drink the Water. It's a Woody Allen play. It's so quirky. It's so fun. I play the part of Marion. And
oh, you got the fun part.
Is fun. She is so fun. I get to sit there. I've made these choices. I'm very flippant. I'm doing my nails. I ignore my husband. Can't relate. And like I've got this train case with handkerchiefs and who knows, a hair roller, like what? Because it's set in the 1960s ish, right when Woody Allen was at the height of his game and everything. So it's really wordy, but it's really fun and I'm enjoying it. I enjoy, the cast is great. We're having such a good time.
Love it. Love it. Love it. And where's that being put on and when?
That is going to be running 2 weeks in October, I think starting the 10th. I think it's the 10th. Friday and Saturday, starting on the 10th for 2 weeks in Patagonia, Arizona.
Oh, it's going to be so amazing. It's going to be so amazing. So as an actress, what skills do you think are crucial for authors to have that are not necessarily YouTube related?
Okay, I did write this one down because I didn't want to forget. So I think authors should give some thought to characters' non-verbal cues or postures, vocal tone. We all have some tone from time to time, and possibly even like facial expressions. So we can't always see that when we're reading that, right? But as an actress, if you're reading like the play, like for Marion, I'm reading this. I mean, it wasn't a book, it was a play or movie, film. And so it's a little more easier to understand. But if it was coming from a book and I didn't know Marion was sort of this bored, kind of a bored housewife that's excited that they're stuck in this country and they can't escape it, but she sort of made it kind of fun. I can play off of that and go, well, oh, and then I see how she talks. I see how her husband, I think it's Walter is her husband's character. And I keep calling the actor his name, not by his character name. So I have to make sure I go, it's Walter. And I can tell by how he's talking what nonverbal cues that I need to pick up on for my character to respond. Does that makes sense?
That actually makes perfect sense. As an editor, I sometimes, because I have stage management training experience, I often tell my writers when I'm editing, if you were an actor, is this a logical choice?
Yes, right.
Or if they're focused too much on, say, guilty as charged here, a character's facial features, what else other than them matters than their eyes? What other senses are they using other than looking?
Yeah, so that we can picture effectively how they're responding. And as an actor, you need to make those choices. And sometimes, I mean, if you make the wrong choice, it makes the thing kind of skew. You're kind of like, why is he happy? He just got charged with guilty. Like,
unless there's been a point earlier to make
reason.
that Yeah, and
Right.
that's the word I use all the time. What's the right choice? The logical choice sometimes is not always the correct choice, though. Is that true?
True. True. Because sometimes logically we may say, oh, well, we would want someone to respond to a tragedy like, but what if that's a situation like this is kind of a tragedy, right? Don't drink the water because they're trapped in this other country and they can't escape it at the moment. They're going to try, but we'll see what happens. I don't want to give it away if you've never seen this, but it's really cute and it's really fun. They do have a movie version. And but it's a comedy. So while the right choice is maybe for Walter is anger and upsettedness, right? She's excited and like, yay, oh my gosh, oh, I think it's great here. I'm having a good time, which would not
She
be
has
logical.
the opposite.
It wouldn't be logical.
Gotcha.
You'd be so stressed, right?
And some people are like that, though.
Yeah,
They get more comedic, like my older brother, George. If stuff got stressful, he would crack more jokes.
yeah.
So, yeah, there are people who are like that. Good point. So, let's reel that back to that question. As an actress, then, let's apply it to YouTube. What skills do we authors need for YouTube from an actress's perspective?
Okay. So I think there's so much information that we could search on while we're writing our story with YouTube, right? Because we all write together in sprints and all these things, and we want to pick each other's brains and things like that. I would say utilize the information that's out there when it comes to how an actor prepares for a role.
I didn't even think to suggest that because stage managers, we help you through that process to communicate with the director on doing so. I got to hear this. Please go on.
Yeah, so it's sort of like when you're thinking how one day, when your story is fully finished, right? And now you're getting ready, you're thinking one day, oh, I'm gonna put this into a movie. I could see who's gonna be in the roles. Did I give these actors enough information, which goes back a little bit, right, to what we were saying before, to sort of make their choices in these characters that would move the story in an exciting way or whatever way you would prefer it to in live action as opposed to just reading it on the page. Yeah, and sometimes when we prepare, we all have different ways. So some may go and read all your novels to catch up and figure out how deep they want to go with the character. Some may not. Some actors may just go, "Oh, I'm playing whatever. Okay, I'm just going to read my part. I don't care." And they'll just naturally sometimes be able to bounce off of the other actors in the scenes with their minimal preparation. I err on the side of more, but I like to know what everyone else is doing and where I fit in that, or my character would fit in that.
And kind of to a testament of what you're coming into, you came into a project where they already started and had to bring in a new actor. That's almost more beneficial to the team to have some sort of we as authors don't realize that eventually it's a team effort to pull that image off on screen, whereas we're the only ones writing it.
Right.
Good point. It's interactions. It's not
Yeah,
just
they've been
reaction.
rehearsing for about 2 months already. And so I pretty much got the script, I think, 2 weeks ago.
Oh wow.
And I went off book our last rehearsal, and I did okay. I was actually did better than I thought. I was like, oh, all these
Good.
classes were worth it. And then I just go, oh, the consummate professional. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, that's a hard 2 weeks though, because you're literally filling someone else's shoes, not just as a character, but you got to catch up to the team. And
Right.
that's cool that you did 2 months of work in 2 weeks, basically.
Yeah, and it's been really great to what you said to highlight your point. They're already sort of meshed. All the scenes have been blocked. All the acts of like everything's kind of feels spoiled. It's all kind of already been done. And I just get to kind of fill in and figure it out like as I go, which is probably stressful, but I think I operate well in chaos. If you ask Cammie, she'll say that I can't say no to that.
You've been doing an amazing job the last 2 weeks because you've been doing armchair chats plus the play plus. Oh my goodness. So I guess also learn to take your rest, and definitely do your self-care is something we could learn from watching her content. Like half your content looks like self-care stuff, and I love it. It's so inspiring.
Because you have to take time. Like, I will overwork. I will not eat. I'll forget to drink water. I'll go, why am I so dizzy? Oh, yeah, it's been a day and a half. I didn't eat anything. Oh, did I forget to sleep too? How'd that happen? So, but I'm more like a project oriented, linear. I got to get this done and then I can do. Then I'll eat. Then I'll rest. Don't do that, friends. Don't do that. So I do, on my angle of the lifestyle side of my channel, try to bring that sense of calm. Like, I have a video coming out, I'm putting out this week. It's how do you fold your sheets? It
Oh
sounds
my God, thank you.
it's so
No, I'm
ridiculous.
serious. My parents were sticklers for stuff like that, and since I've moved out, I kind of haven't been. So,
Oh, and
thank you.
there's no wrong way, unless you're balling it up and tossing it in would be my only complaint. But the way that I fold it, it just turns it into a little package. And it's never the same package every time. I'll admit it. It's not perfect every time, but it's something about it is really relaxing. Like, I clear the island in the kitchen and I just fold it there. And it's just the most relaxing thing. And I went, I bet people would like to see this. I mean, I don't know, maybe not, but
Hey, I will admit there's people who don't know how to do who I married someone who doesn't know how to do hospital corners on a bed, and I'm like, you didn't learn that as a kid? Because I grew up with a mom and a dad who required it.
yes.
So,
My dad had the military tuck, and I had to iron them. We had to iron sheets. So you never went and said, hey, I'm bored, because they'd get an iron or a broom or something that puts you to work, which we talked about this recently. I remember we're like, who was all there for that era?
oh, I grew up in a house with a wood stove. If you said you were bored, dad had you chop wood. You never said, I'm bored around my father, because he will go out and get the axe and say, here you go. You're not
Oh,
bored no more.
oh my gosh. Yeah.
So, yeah, you don't say those words in
Bill
certain
Gates is
households. I hope not to be that parent one day, put it
you
that way.
will, you're precious. You will not, you will be such a sweet mama.
Yeah, right. I taught teenagers for almost 15 years. I'll be the mean mom, probably.
Nah, you might be a little ornery and have some off days, but I think you'll be fine. You're going to be a sweetheart. I already know.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
So, if you could cast anyone to be in a book that you've read, or recast a show that has been made from such, who and why? What and why?
Gosh. Okay. So I don't know if they even made this book into a movie. You think I'd watch more movies, but I don't always have time. So Kindred by Octavia E. Butler is one of my all-time favorite books. She's like the first female sci-fi writer, and it's like all kinds of like goodness. So this book like literally took me out of reality reading it. And I would cast Taraji P. Henson as the female
Oh,
lead.
please. Yes.
And I wrote it down because I didn't want to mess up the why. Her facial expressions for emotional range from like confusion to stress, fear, and even thoughtful, and then the total understanding of realization of her situation, which if you've read this book, you're already going, ooh, mm-hmm. And not giving up and being stuck in that time loop. Like, I can see her doing this part and she'd be so freaking amazing. That's who I would choose.
For
So
those of you who want a contextualization of the moment she's talking about, if you've seen the moment in Avengers or in Marvel's Avenger universe where Doctor Strange is like, I must figure out how to I must statistically figure out how we can beat Thanos. I must. It's that level of audacity this
Yes.
character has. And unlike where Marvel kind of got us to the end of it for sake of story time, this story does not get you to the end of it. It takes you through the mess.
You are frustrated in this movie or this book. I'm crying. I haven't read in a while. I'm going to pick it up again because I've been thinking about this book a lot lately. And I'm just like, gosh, I love that book so much. Where's my copy? I don't know. I'm going to have to order it again. But, and I cried. And then like, when I think like, yeah, that'll work.
No.
And I don't want to say anymore because I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't read this. And
go watch, go read, go listen. It's probably an audiobook by now, I would imagine.
There has to be. There has to be.
So if you were to have your own books turn into movies, which directors do you think would be the best for your work as an actress?
Okay. Catherine Hardwicke. She would be my pick. I would love to work with M. Night Shyamalan and Guillermo del Toro, but my book's not that dark.
Mine are, and I would like to throw a curveball to he did the third Thor movie. Taika, last name begins with a W. Waititi. I'm probably saying that wrong.
Oh, I can't remember.
He did the third Thor movie, and he takes dark movies and gives them like, it's like watching Labyrinth from Jim Henson. It's a dark movie, but it has its really bright, sparkly moments.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what my books have. And I'm like, I want that feel.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And like M. Night Shyamalan, Guillermo del Toro, they're very different, but there's a similarity, right? With like how they bring that darkness to life in each film. And it's all a little bit different. I don't know if you saw that series that Guillermo del Toro did. I think it came out last year, the year before. Oh, what is it? Right around Hall. A bunch of odd stories.
Yes. Like it was a collection of short stories he did.
Yes, and it was like a book in like a head, and it's like that's the picture on the thumbnail. That's all I got, but I can't remember.
If you need a good watch for October,
because I got a play stuck in my head. I have no memory room left.
Well, sorry. We do have one final question before outros, so that might help us out. If an author or writer wanted to work with someone in your acting writing community, who do you think would be open to listening to indie authors as far as like looking at stories to take them on?
I would tell them to get engaged with whatever any of those people and what they're doing via their social profiles, via the groups they're involved in. A lot of them, they're obviously going to be in like the Directors Guild or the Producers Guild or things like that. So you kind of just want to find where they're all hiding. And then you want to just kind of jump in, and just make yourself say hello and, just like you would in any other public situation, and there's like a little safe wall, right? Because we're online with everything, right? So you can always just pop in and start talking in their groups or whatever. And eventually I would say cozy up to, getting into like their top fans or any of the thing that they're pushing or doing or whatever. And then when you're ready to say, hey, I think I can let so-and-so in on what I'm on, and maybe they'll produce it, or maybe I can hire them to direct it, or these actors might be perfect in it, or casting directors can find who's going to be perfect for it. I think you'll have already created this rapport with those said people. And, one last thing to know on that is that social media has connected me to so many amazing like opportunities. So I don't see why. I mean, we live in such a crazy age. Like, so if you're a writer, I believe this approach can work for any industry. So social media.
It's definitely worth watching and considering for sure. Thank you so much. Any questions for me, or you want to add in before we wrap up and do outros then, my friend?
Gosh, I don't know. This was so fun. I'm so glad you had me here. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for being here. And other than me, is there anyone else you would like to give a shout out to in our community? Maybe someone you're doing a collab with or other things?
I'm doing some buddy reads, and with Esty Houston, we're reading the Story Grid, and we'll be filming that October something. Hold on. October 7th, we'll be going live with our review of the Story Grid. It's like basically helps us edit our own books. And what's another one? And I have another buddy read with Vanessa, reading with Dr. B. She's awesome.
I love Dr. B.
I love her. We're reading The Woman in Me by Britney Spears right now. So we will be doing that.
Yes.
But I don't have a date on when we're filming that one, but keep a lookout for it because
definitely check her channel. Definitely check her channel. And let's get an outro, shall we? Tell us where we can find you and all the things as we wind down.
Well, thank you so much for having me. My name is Rita Slanina on all my socials, website, and everything. It's Rita Slanina, ritaslanina.com. I host live productivity streams every Friday and Saturday, 7:30 a.m. on my YouTube channel. That's Eastern Time. And our season finale of Armchair Author Chats are live this Sunday, starting at 12:30 Eastern this Sunday.
Thank you all so much for supporting her. Like, seriously, go to her channel, give her all the love, and thank you so much for spending time with me, my friend.
Oh, anytime. I love and adore you. So
Same. And with that being the case, above all, take care of yourselves. You've always been worth it. And